The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. I'm your co-host, Jacqueline Smith. I'm here with Ryan Park Greigg. And as always, we're going to dive into elements of the 15-Point Plan, which if you're new here, you can go back a few episodes and listen to the overview that we did recently. We recorded a new one so that we could welcome all of our new listeners. And what we're doing right now is we're unpacking different aspects of the 15-Point Plan and how our work is impacting our biology. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, but Jacqueline, I thought we were doing a different episode today. I thought today's episode was the bird nerd episode. I thought today was my special request that we were...
Yeah. So we actually did get a request from someone to do a bird nerd podcast. So there's definitely an opportunity for a bird nerd podcast coming soon. But we need more than one request. So if you are a fellow bird nerd, please send us a message. And let's say, I don't know, if we get like at least 5 or 6 people that want the bird nerd episode, then we might have to record one. But if not, then I think you need to get like on a Zoom with that guy and you guys can just bird nerd together.
Well, look, Jacqueline, I love it when people reach out and send messages like, hey, we listened to the podcast and like, thank you for talking about energy. But a couple episodes ago, I think I talked about listening to the birds while meditating, and I just shared that Merlin app that I love. And I talked about my joy for ornithology, which is the study of birds. And our DMs were just blowing up with people that want to talk about birds. So anyways, jokes aside, there's your laugh for your 15-point plan. Mm-hmm. We're jumping back into that energy audit and how we're going to increase our energy through this really cool system that we've been studying over the last episode and for the next episodes. And I love these stats and these studies that we're reviewing, Jacqueline. So take us back to where we left off, and then we'll get into this cool energy audit so we can decide kind of where we're at with our energy.
Yeah. So the last episode, if you didn't listen to it, please go back and listen to it. We talked about environmental factors that are impacting our energy. We talked about social factors, and we talked about psychological factors. And today we're going to talk about work factors, because we spend a lot of our time at work. It doesn't matter what you do. Everyone is busy with work. And so a few stats on this. So average knowledge workers check emails 74 times per day, which they have 87 interruptions per day. And it takes 23 minutes, we know, to regain focus each time. So the long story short there is that emails and notifications are tanking your focus and your productivity.
Yeah, that's wild. The whole distraction and interruption of your flow state, Jacqueline, is so important. And I think something that we easily overlook. It's like when we want to do something at a high level and get into what we call a flow state, where we're really performing at peak performance, that takes a little time. And every time we stop, it takes, 5 seconds to check your email, 10 seconds to check that social media, but it takes like 10x that to regain the speed that you lost in your momentum. So that's a really, really important thing to focus on and make sure we're not getting distracted by doing that.
Yeah. The other thing that was eye-opening, I mentioned last episode, I went through this with my team and they all kind of pointed their finger at me for Mondays, because Mondays are my meeting days.
Yeah.
And this study said that stress accumulates measurably after 4 meetings with no break. So I actually have on Mondays afternoons, I have 4 meetings, sometimes 5 meetings, and with no break. And so that makes it so that your brain can't recover, and it increases your stress by at least 54%, according to studies.
That's crazy. Like that idea is just crazy. 54% increase in stress. Okay, so you're 0% stressed, which is nobody, but then you're going to take that to half or 50% more. Like that's a big stat.
Yep. The other factor related to work is 33% of workers report that they check their email after 11 p.m., which means that they're not giving their brain the recovery time it needs, which impacts your brain restoration. It's actually critical for brain restoration that you have breaks, and that break unfortunately has shrunk from hours to minutes for most leaders, because they're just always on, like we talked about last episode. And then the other thing is most professionals spend 80% of their time in reaction and only 20% of their time in creative and strategic thinking. So reactive is things like email, Slack, calls, texts, where you're just like being pinged and you're responding. And then you're only spending 20% of your time in actual creativity and strategic thinking, which is the exact inverse of what it should be. We should be spending 80% of our time in strategic thinking and creativity and 20% of our time responding to things like emails, Slacks, and texts. So we're
Right.
actually flipping that triangle on its head and doing it entirely backwards.
Right.
It's crazy. So, low energy, why is this so important? Because it affects every area of your life. So, in business, poor decisions, missed opportunities, reactive leadership, reduced creativity, they say it's leading to at least a 34% revenue reduction because of your decision quality. Like that
1/3.
is money, people. So
That is
now,
major
like,
money. Yeah.
everyone says time is money, Ryan, but guess what we're going to say? Energy is money. Energy is money.
It's so true.
Okay. Now, we don't only care about money. So let's talk about relationships. Emotional unavailability, irritability, conflict escalation, loss of intimacy. So they say that there's a 2.3 times divorce risk with chronic fatigue.
So we're a third more broke, and we are 2 times more likely to
Yeah.
fall out of our relationship. And then, Jacqueline, add on to that, we're 3 times more disease prone to get these chronic diseases. So we're a third more broke. We're 2 times more likely to break up in a relationship. We're 3 times more likely to have disease. And let's talk about our finances and our mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, think about this though before we do those. Like, I'm a woman I'm 47. I like all of my friends are talking about cortisol issues, hormone collapse, metabolic issues. Um, you know, I see a lot more people getting sick too, like immune suppression. So these things, I think we all just say like, yep, perimenopause and oh, yep, menopause. No, these are getting worse over time. And it's because of all of this energy, the lack of energy, this low energy, this chronic stress, chronic fatigue. So yeah, so talk about finances now, Ryan. How does this relate to our finances and our mental health?
Yeah, so then when we look at our finances and it's like, okay, we do these impulsive buying, we just hop on Amazon, we think, God, I'm tired, I'm angry, I'm
Yep.
lonely, let me just hop on and let's just buy something. And we have like this 18 to 20% worse deal outcomes. In other words, we're just making bad decisions. We're just buying things because we're hangry, we're lonely, we're
Yeah.
broke, we got no energy. Scroll, buy, scroll,
Scroll by.
buy. It's
Yeah.
like this vicious cycle, right? So our finances start to go down about a quarter, 25% roughly on average.
And then we do have a lot of realtors who listen to this. So I don't want to skip over the fact that they also say that your negotiation skills actually decrease as well.
Mm.
Missed deals, like it is impacting you so much more than we realize. Um, okay, mental health.
Okay, so these numbers are pretty high, right? Like 30%, 20%. Mental health, though, 40% of executives show burnout. 40%. Like they're anxious, they're depressed, they're burnt out. They're questioning their life, Jacqueline. They've like
Mm.
we've lost our purpose in our life because frankly, we just don't have energy to give a crap anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. And then your physical peak, right? So testosterone drops by 15% per decade of stress, which then you're experiencing things like muscle loss, fat gain, fatigue cycles, premature aging, hormonal decline. We're just not at our best, and we're getting further and further away from our best.
Let me I love when you see like these people on social media that are like, hey, here's how you do this in 60 seconds. Well, let me tell you how to absolutely ruin your life in 60 seconds. You don't have energy because your business just went down a third. Your relationships are 2 times more likely to crash out. Your health is at a three time impact of disease. Your finances are now 25% worse. Your mental health is 40% worse. And your physical fitness peak has just crashed.
Mhm.
Like, look at what energy loss can so quickly do. And now we're burnt out. Now we don't care. Now we just want to lump out on that log. we, we, we just want to lump out just because we just don't have the energy to care anymore, Jacqueline.
Yeah. They say that the Harvard Medical School, they did research and it said that executives who manage their energy, not just their time, are 4 times more productive, have 3 times better decision quality, and sustain peak performance for decades longer. Um, for me, I've felt all of these things, even
Mhm.
though I do the 15-point plan, um, maybe not always consistently, but I'm still spending, even though I'm doing 15-point plan, I'm spending so much time indoors. Like, I didn't know that stat that we talked about last episode, and that we're spending 90% of our time indoors, and we are not made to do that. And
Yeah.
so the other thing that I did was I got my blood work done, Ryan, and I shared that on a past episode, that I was feeling like lacking purpose. I was feeling like I don't know if I want to do this. And what I found was my hormones are all out of whack. I had thyroid issues. I had really low vitamin D and vitamin B. I was borderline anemic. So my iron was low. I had all of these issues going on that I had no idea were going on. And so what do I do is I'm feeling bad physically, but I don't know I'm feeling bad physically. And I
Right.
start questioning everything in my life. And I know people that do this. You start questioning your business and your partnerships and your marriage and what you're doing with your life. You start questioning your whole identity and purpose. And really, you just need some vitamin D.
Yeah, you just need to get
You need to
outside.
go outside. Yeah.
You just need to
Go.
drink a little bit of water. You need to sleep maybe a little bit more. But Jacqueline, you brought up blood work, and that is probably like a next step, right? Like we,
Mhm.
we should go get blood work and we should look at all that. But there are some questions that we can ask ourselves to maybe just do what we call an energy audit. And that's how we're going to end this episode is with a
Yep.
quick energy audit. We're going to ask our listeners some questions. So if you're listening, grab a pen right now and maybe just write these things down and then ask yourself, where am I? Right? Like,
Mhm.
what's my score? Like, what's my score on what are these out of 10?
Scale, yeah, 1 to 10. So
Yeah.
10 is I am nailing this category, and 1 is I am failing miserably at this category. Be ruthlessly honest with you, because this is just with yourself. This is just a starting line, right? So once you are aware, then you can regulate. So let's go through the categories, Ryan, and you're going to score yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So scale of 1 to 10. Category number one. Now there's 7 of these. Category number one is sleep. Like, what's your quality and what's your quantity? Are you getting 7 to 9 hours? And do you wake up refreshed? Scale of 1 to 10.
Yep. The next one is exercise consistency. So, are you exercising, whatever that is for you? Um, are you moving your body, getting exercise 5 sessions per week? Are you doing strength and some cardio? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at on your exercise consistency? What's the
I
next
like
one,
how I like how they combine this next one, Jacqueline. It's not just nutrition, but it's nutrition plus blood sugar.
Ryan?
So
Yep.
scale of 1 to 10, are you getting your nutrition and monitoring your blood sugar by eating protein first thing in the morning so your insulin doesn't spike? Are
Mhm.
you not having energy crashes? In other words, do you eat this huge lunch and then go, oh my gosh, I need to take a nap? What does your nutrition look like to you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yep. Then hydration. Um, So essentially, you should be getting zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7 ounces per pound daily. And then not just water, but are you consuming a form of electrolytes, whether it's, salt, packets, whatever it is. But are you hydrating? If you're not sure, go back and listen to an episode we did on hydration, and score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Ryan, and hey, I know we're going through these fast. So if you are listening and you want a copy of this energy audit, just email either me, Jacqueline at evergreenrealestatepartners.com, or you can reach out to either one of us on social media and we can get you a copy of this energy audit.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so the next one is stress regulation.
Stress regulation. Ooh,
Yep.
fun one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you regulating your stress? And that's kind of a hard one to quantify. So you might ask yourself, are you doing things from the plan like mindfulness, like journaling, maybe some breath work, like we mentioned on the last episode? Not this crazy breath work. By the way, Jacqueline, I did a 45-minute breath work session the other day and it was super impactful. But that doesn't mean that's what you got to do. A minute or two. Are you taking these recovery rituals like taking a quick break, like reading maybe, like finding ways that are going to decrease your stress? Scale of 1 to 10. How are you regulating your stress?
Yeah. And then your mental focus. So, do you have time that daily for deep work blocks? Or are you single tasking or are you constantly multitasking throughout your day? So, your mental focus, how would you score it? 1 to 10. 10 is I'm super focused. I stick to my time blocks. I have deep work. I get into flow. I'd never multitask. That would be a 10. So you can score yourself on that. And then the last one, purpose and meaning, Ryan.
Yeah. Are you energized? Like, are
Yep.
you energized by your work? Scale of 1 to 10. Does your work energize you? Scale of 1 to 10. Do you know why you do what you do? Do you have a clear reason for waking up and getting out of bed in the morning? Scale of 1 to 10. What is your purpose in life? Do you feel like you have a purpose in life? Is it a strong purpose in life that absolutely fires you up, gets you out of bed on the days that you don't want to get out of bed, and puts you out there to the world? You take all those 7 things: sleep, exercise, nutrition, hydration, stress regulation, mental focus, and purpose. Give yourself a rating. Be honest with yourself. We're not checking this unless you want us to. We'll gladly jump in, but scale of 1 to 10, the total would be 70. And then you ask yourself, okay, if I got 55 to 70 points, I'm pretty dang optimized. If I got 40 to 54 points, I got some room to grow. And below 40, like, we need to check ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to check ourselves and ask, don't get overwhelmed, because I can see if I'm looking at this going, dang, I'm below 40. What do I do? Just start with one. Start with the one that you can win at first. Because if you want to avoid burnout, you find some wins. And when you
Yeah.
find those wins, then you're going to start stacking those wins. So if you're low on one of these, if you're low on a few of these things, don't worry. You can change that pretty quickly. Find one. Find one that you can act on and act on that one first and increase that score.
Yep. So reach out if you want a copy of that, or just pause and rewind as much as you need to. Next episode, I know we spent the last 2 episodes kind of talking about the problem. Now we've done individual, diagnoses. We highly recommend, like we said, getting the Function app. I think it's like $500 a year, and it includes a couple blood work, like blood panels per year. It's awesome. Or you can do it through your insurance or whatever. But if you don't have insurance, that's a great option. And figure out what's really going on, not what you think is going on. So definitely do that. It changed so much for me. I can speak from experience. Like, I totally thought it was everyone else's fault, but I just needed some vitamins. And I'm feeling a lot better. So next episode, though, we're going to go into solutions. We're going to go through the 4 dimensions of energy. We're going to dive in pretty deep over the next few episodes on how to fix this and how to manage our energy better. So we hope this was valuable. We're all on a journey together. And I think we all are here because we want to be the best version of ourselves for our families, for the people we love, and also so that we can do what we're called to do in this one short and incredible life that we've been given. So we thank you all for listening. Find Ryan on Instagram. He's not on there all the time, but he is there. Ryan Park Greigg. He's actually really good at managing his screen time. That's why. And then myself, I got work to do, so I will respond really quick. Jacqueline Ray Smith on Instagram. We love you. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.